Hello, my beautiful friends. So, I had a request to lead some journal writing, so I'm going to do that. For those of you who are new to the channel, my name is Beth, and I am an English professor. I'm in administration as well. But I've been writing journals since I'm a little girl, and I'm here to tell you that it's not scary. It's not scary to keep a journal. It's not being graded. I'm not grading you. I'm not checking MLA and citations. Journaling is hard because it's hard to get started, and a lot of folks think, well, I'm not a great writer, so I spell every word wrong, or I don't know what words to use. It's all right. A journal is for you, right? A journal is for you to think about and write about things that are important to you. So don't worry about grammar and mechanics. It's not being graded. So don't let that be the reason you don't do it. Other folks are like, well, I'm just lazy, and I start it, and I get, I'll get into it for a few days, and then I forget about it. Listen, I'm part of that club. I have so many journals laying around my house over the course of my lifetime that when I go, my kid is going to have fun assembling them. You journal when it strikes you and when it brings you meaning. And it is great to get into a daily habit, but life gets in the way. Don't worry about it. It isn't like, it's not like you're going to get an F somewhere down the line because you didn't write in your journal every day. You're writing it when you remember it. So don't worry about that. Now, people have all kinds of fancy journals and, really like nice journals. You don't have to have anything fancy. You can go to the dollar store and get something there. This is my journal, which I got off of eBay. It comes blank, and then I stuck stickers all over it. I'll leave a link to this below. Um, but it was the biggest one I could find. But I have other journals. I have journals that I take with me in my kayak. I have a journal that I take with me backpacking that just stays in my backpack. So, and it's fun because when I'm out on trail, I'll go to write it and it'll be like the last time I wrote it, and it was like 6 months ago when I was on the trail the last time. So it's kind of fun. I stop, drop, and write all the time on trail. So you can set a time each day if that's meaningful to you. You can do it in the morning. You can do it in the evening. You can pull a rune in the morning and then write at night about what it is that my word today was grace. If you follow the channel, I pull a word. I meditate on a word each morning, and then I might write about how that applied today or didn't apply. Sometimes I'll pull a card. Sometimes I'll pull a stone. Sometimes I'm just writing about what happened during the day, if something happened. I have fortunately a pretty uneventful life. I might write, I took a tea bath tonight with the Goddess Provisions tea that I got for what they call Esther, what I call Albert Eiler. What I was thinking about is how privileged I am that I can sit in a jacuzzi bathtub with a pretty purple bag full of tea when, a good portion of this world is starving, and would be grateful for a cup of tea, right? And so how grateful I am to be, taking a tea bath when others can't. So, I mean, there's so many things you can write about. And that sometimes is the problem in getting started. It's like, well, I don't know what to write about. There's so much or not enough to write about. So what we'll try to do, I won't be able to do it every night because I'm not home every night, but I will try to do a journal prompt. This is the first one that I will pick some music and I will link it below, and I will pull a card or a stone, whatever calls to me, and then give you a time to write, and I'll write, and then I'll talk about what I wrote, and you can share in the comments if you want to what you wrote, but journals are very private, so you don't feel a need, but it at least gets you a prompt and gets you started. So welcome to the evening journal meditation with BRG. See what happens. Okay, so I've picked some Celtic harp music, and I will link it below. I listen to a lot of Tim Janis, but tonight I'm not listening to Tim Janis. I was called to something else. So that's the music I have playing. I am being called. I kind of look at my cards and I think, what does Spirit want? Does it want me to pull a stone or some cards? Celtic Spirit is my daily driver. If you're familiar with the channel, I pull one of those every morning, or I do a Celtic cross spread. And I'm also being called to pull from Earth Wisdom. So I'm going to take one card from each deck, whatever Spirit throws at me, and that's what we're going to write about. So I'm going to explain the card, but I'm not going to interpret the card. And then I'm going to pause and I'm going to write, and then I'll come back, and hopefully you'll do the same and listen to the music while you're writing. And again, don't worry about grammar, don't worry about mechanics. Just, let your heart open up and write down whatever comes to you. All right, let's see what we have. So from Celtic Spirit, this is my daily driver. I like these cards a lot. They have my energy through and through in them. And we'll ask Spirit just for one card to meditate on tonight. All right, we have the Step Out card, which is Hidden, Courage, and Camouflage. So if this is a tree and you're kind of like stepping out, peering out behind it, that is what's going on in the card. You can see they're either watching or waiting. So that's something to think about. Where in your life do you need courage, or are you hiding and stepping out so that you can be seen? So that's one card. And then we're going to pull from Earth Wisdom, which is another Celtic deck. I'm drawn to the Celtic things. My friend Nav makes fun of me because to me it's all about my ancestors, but so what? It is who I am, so. All right. One card from Spirit for us to meditate on and journal about tonight. All right, I'm going to do 3 passes, and if nothing comes out, then I know that Spirit doesn't want me to use this deck and just use the card that came out. So we'll see what Spirit has. There we go. Yeah, 2. All right, we have Divine Protection. So that's a card, just Divine Protection, whatever that means to you. And Freedom. You can see it with my light. So, so the 3 cards that we have to think about tonight while we journal are Stepping Out, and then clarify with Divine Protection and Freedom. So I am going to go write for a little bit, and then I'll be back. And I can't wait to see or hear what you have written about in your journals. I figured I would record me just a little bit and what I look like when I'm writing my journal, because it's so big. I have to kind of lean it against myself. But just to give you like a few seconds of writing with me if you want to. First thing I do is I write down the cards that I had and whatever's written on them. So now I'm going to pause. I'll be back. All right, so I got done writing, and the cards are very interesting because they talk about stepping out and having this protection. So getting out in there and doing something new and different and being protected, and then this, whatever this stepping out will actually result in freedom. So I was thinking about that, and I was thinking today that when I look at YouTube and the algorithm, there's so much sadness, and I can't watch children being hurt. I can't watch animals being hurt. I can't watch humans being hurt. There was, a video about some girl that's been kept in a storage shed for 12 years, some young girl. And then, I watched the Dodo, which is, inspirational videos about animals. And for every animal that's saved and shared on there, there's a million out there that are abused and treated badly and murdered. And, just like there's so much sadness around us. There's so much sadness around us. And it's, I don't know that I'm a true empath in the way that word is often used, but I'm definitely empathetic, and I definitely feel sad at my core whenever I see news, and it just seems like I'm surrounded by that negativity and darkness. And so, I've always been a religious and spiritual person, first religious and then spiritual, and a combination of both. my whole life, but it took me actually being taken out of the scene and plopped on my butt with a foot injury to make me really explore my spirituality more. And so that's really a year old. Actually, this week, a year old. A year ago, I found out I had fractured my heel. And it's been a journey. And while I was very frustrated by being, like I'm a go, 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 go person and having to sit, it's just not my vibe. And I had to do it. I had to keep my foot up. I wasn't allowed to move anywhere. I wasn't allowed to do anything. And for somebody with energy like I have, that was so frustrating. But now looking back over the year, like I wouldn't be doing any of this had that not happened. So, I have been stepping out. I stepped out and trying to find ways to bring this to other people who might be Christian, but also spiritual. And for those of us who are religious in any particular religion, we think our religion is right, otherwise we'd belong to another one. But that sometimes lends itself to dogmatism or making people feel bad for being whatever they are. And I've never been that way. And even within Christianity, I've always sort of accepted all the denominations equally and with my own preferences for the ones that I worshiped in. But even then, it's still like, it's like liking mayonnaise. And then, I'll eat a sandwich with this brand or that brand, but, I prefer this brand, right? So, but it's still saying that mayonnaise is the best condiment when there's mustard and, whatever else is out there. And so, what I've learned over the years to be much more open to world religions and really religions that religions and pathways. I want to. Not all of them are religions, like pathways that I'm just not familiar with. When I was in college, I went to a Catholic college, so I had a class in that was co-taught with one of our professors, one of the professors at Lehigh, in Judaism and women in Judaism, which is fascinating and eye-opening. And I have a lot of Jewish friends of all different levels of Judaism and different branches of it. And so I've been fortunate to have, a lot of personal instruction from my friends in Judaism, both culturally and religiously. But I knew very little about spiritual paths that aren't part of the major world religions, because in the Christian tradition we are taught that those things are evil and bad, and that the occult is wrong and against God. And I think that anything that brings light and love into this world honors God. I believe that anything that we can do to stop darkness is good. And if we have a teeny little candle, just a teeny little one, we all have our teeny little candles, that dissipates the darkness. We're surrounded by bad news and horrible stories and, animals being mistreated and babies being mistreated and elderly people being mistreated and this group of people abusing that group of people. Like, we're surrounded by darkness all the time. And so anything that brings light and love, anything, I don't care what you call it, it's good stuff. It's good stuff, but it requires us to step out, right? It requires us to come behind the tree and say, this is what I believe. And we're protected. So, it was very hard for me to step out because I knew that I was going to get flack, and I did. Christians do not want other Christians going around saying it's okay to be Wiccan. It's not up to me to judge Wiccans. That's between you. What you believe is between you and whatever God you believe in. It's not up to me. It's up to me what I believe, right? I can only show you what, the belief system I have, and you can decide whether it resonates with you. I'm a champion of light and love because I believe Jesus Christ was a champion of light and love. Everything that he did when he had his earthly ministry was about sharing and taking care of each other in light and love, right? And bringing greedy people to justice. When he got mad, it was in the temple over people who were, obsessed with greed, right? So this has been a stepping out process for me. And I think tonight's, what I wrote about is just feeling protected, feeling, because I've had some, difficult conversations with people who I've loved for a very long time. If you're new to the channel, I was going to be a nun. So you go from being a nun to a person who reads oracle cards and runestones, and people are concerned. They wonder what has happened to you. Nothing. I still believe in Jesus. I'm as Christian as I ever was. But I think that there are lots of different tools that can help us grow closer to God and closer to the message that Jesus shared on earth. And it gives you a lot of freedom. You know, I feel a lot more free now because I'm not constrained by all of the dogmatic, human-created religious practices that sort of plague the church, and I mean the Church Universal. Right? We have a lot of human hands in there making rules and making rituals, and it's no different than what they criticize other non-Christian groups of doing. So I'm free of that, and that's good. So I think that tonight's message for me was just, I'm out. I've stepped out, and I've been protected, and I'm feeling the freedom. Don't go behind the tree. Don't hide it back. Don't hide your light. Come together. Find other people. Help them shine their light. And maybe by journaling, that lights a spark, and you can start to bring your light forth too. So I'm wishing you all the very best in light and love. I hope this journal moment was wonderful for you. I love journaling, and I wish you well. I will see you tomorrow morning for a rune pull. All the best in light and love. Bye-bye.